Hey everyone. As you might have seen from the title and the thumbnail, we are going to do something a bit different today as I got to talk to the producer of Mailmole, which is a game releasing on basically every platform available on March 4th. The first part of the video is going to be a general talk about the development, the team, etc. And the second part is going to be a dev commentary over the game itself. See the timestamps below, somewhere here on the bar. If you enjoy this type of content, a like, subscribe would help me immensely to continue doing these. Enjoy the video. It's been 2.5 years now since I started it. So tomorrow is the day where the coverage goes live, and the day after is the day where the game goes live. So how are you and the whole team feeling?
I'm getting crazy right now. I don't know. It depends. Sometimes I'm thinking about it and I think it will go pretty good. I think I'm confident about the game, and then in another moment I'm like, this is horrible. I want to bury it and hide. But
he's a mole, by the way, so burying it doesn't work.
No, that's true. But I can bury myself.
Okay.
But in my case, one thing that really helped me see that this is happening was sending the press release about two weeks ago, and seeing that there was interest and that those websites that I've been reading for years were like, hey, send me a code. And that was like, whoa, this is happening. It's not only our Discord community that loves us and play all the demos we do, but the general public is actually gonna see Mailmole, and yeah, it's tough. And I'm not sure about what will happen tomorrow, but I think we can be happy with how this went and with the future.
Same for the other team members? Are they also all just like can't get their mind off of the thing that's happening in the next 2 days?
No, I think each one takes it in a different way. In my case, as I'm the producer and the person in charge of the Twitter account and social media in general, I'm more like in touch with everything. I prepare those press releases. I'm actually in contact with the people testing it, but the rest of the team is actually working on more content for the game. So the daily basis is more similar to the one we had 6 months ago when we were finishing the game, because we cannot confirm anything because this can change, but we are working on more content for this game for free. We have some DLC in the plans. So yeah, I think I'm the one that it's always like texting them like, whoa, I'm getting crazy, and they are like, man, I'm taking a shower. What are you telling me? I'm not working right now. So yeah, it's different for each one.
I was reading before that your team got together just freshly out of university and then made that game. Like, how do you decide to just make a year-long project out of university that you have like no actual professional experience before, and then you just commit to that? Like, how did that come about?
Yeah, so it didn't start actually as a commercial project. It was a university assignment, and we had to develop a game during a year with a bit to experience a full development process, but without thinking in actually selling it or adding it on Steam or Switch. But we were very lucky because one of our teachers, David Jaume Andreu, happens to have an indie studio here in Barcelona. And while talking to him, we decided to continue the development as with him in his office, and that's how it started. We didn't expect to release the game on so many platforms at the beginning, and the game has actually grown a lot since that first concept. But yeah, we didn't expect it. it was more like, well, we're gonna try, we're gonna get into the industry and try to fit in. But yeah, that's a bit of our story.
So how did that? I also saw those platforms, and that was really something that stood out to me the moment I was reading that. You probably didn't have much experience with the cross-platform development. So how did Undercoders was the name, I believe?
Undercoders, yes.
So how did that go? Like they were like, hey guys, you make a great game, and I will push that to every platform. Or like, how does it go?
Well, we started developing on Switch and Steam because Undercoders had the dev kit for Switch, but not for other platforms. And well, it was more like, hey, David from Undercoders knows that we don't have that much experience. So he was like, okay, take a month to start developing on Switch to understand how it works, and we'll see. And then about 6 months later, when the game was actually growing much more than we expected, we contact with Handusoft, another indie studio from Barcelona, who has a lot of experience with ports. And they actually made the PS4 and Xbox versions. So we work with them a lot, but in-house we actually only made the Switch and Steam versions.
So where did the whole idea come from? You basically said that you started a little project in university. Yes. And I suppose the original idea for what you did in university was much smaller. Like, what was the original idea, and then how did that develop?
Yeah, so it's actually quite funny because I think the most eye-catching feature of Mail Mole is the fact that you play as a mole, and that's very different to other platformers. But that actually started as a way of surpass our limitations. We started without an artist. We were just like programmers. So yeah, imagine we had to animate a character, and we are not Nintendo, no? So we thought, well, we had a small prototype of a mole game before, and we decided to merge it with our passion for 3D platformers. Mm. And well, it can be tough to program a mole, but it's much easier for a programming team than making a lot of animation. So that's how it started. And actually, for months, Multi, the character, was just a sphere. It didn't have like a model or textures, because you spend most of the time with the character underground. You've played it. You must have seen it. Yeah. And the original demo, the one we made on university, was it only had 3 levels. So it was more like a small showcase of the mechanic and a couple mechanics, but it didn't feature all the worlds that the final game has. So that's how it started. And then when we moved to Undercoders offices, we made a production plan and decided to make the 8 worlds the game has and all the levels. But yeah, it started as a very small game, just to showcase this possibility, the possibility of having an underground character.
Did you those 3 levels that you started with? I suppose they aren't in the game anymore, right?
Well, one of them is quite similar to one in the final game, and that's the 3rd level in the game, one of the farm world.
Of the first world, yeah.
Yeah. But it has changed a little bit. Yeah, it's a very interesting game. I'm thinking about releasing the original game so people can see how much it has changed. And then the other 2, one was from the desert world and the other one from the volcano world. Mm. And those are kinda there, but not like they are not straight out from that demo.
Do you have a favorite world? Because I definitely have a favorite world.
Well, I think my favorite is the swamp.
Oh, okay.
I like the visuals. I think it's very different to the other ones with the fog and the mood is I don't know, it's different. but maybe, and I don't want to spoil it too much, the last world is the one where I think everything kind of mashed together.
Yeah, you did really well actually with how to structure the progression in that game. I was actually lying, as I said, I was feeling a bit bad on that day and was just trying something to get my mind off of it. And I was playing Melmore, and I started the first world. I was thinking that is super cute, but that is a bit basic. You know, I can see how that might have potential. And then I continued playing, and then I was grinning ear to ear in some levels because of the obvious throwbacks that you did. For example, in my favorite world, the Ancient Ruins, or I believe it was called.
The second one.
It's just the moment that Crash Bandicoot level with the rolling boulder started, I was just laughing. That was really, really adorable. How did that come about with the ideas of the game? Did you just like throw ideas together and you were like, hey, we should totally make a level with running away from a huge boulder, and then we should make a level where you push small balls into swimming pool rings, or how?
Yeah. So we started with the main reference being Mario 3D World, Super Mario. And I think you can see that in the structure of the game. It has like independent levels where each one presents a mechanic and kind of develops it, and then the next one moves to another thing. But then, well, in the development team, we've played a lot of platformers. So yeah, there was, for me, the best part of the development was when at the beginning we were, as you said, throwing ideas and imagining possibilities, and that's from where the Crash Bandicoot level comes from. It is this level where a spike is kind of trying to catch you, and you have to run, moving in the direction of the camera. And then also one level in Swamp, for example, is more like an exploring one. The one where you have to get 5 keys. I don't know if you remember. That was us trying to find another pacing. Like, well, we are working a lot with very linear levels. We are going to open this area and change a little bit the pacing of the game. So yeah, the reference always was Mario 3D World, but we tried to add everything we loved about other platformers in the game.
You did that really well. Like, the worlds actually have different feeling to them, also with different mechanics. It's just, like, what really surprised me was that I went through the levels and every level had something that I was happy about. It was just a warm, little, cozy, wholesome feeling exploring those levels. And it was just really, really adorable. So also in the beginning it was probably just a level, go through the level, end the level, but you added many progression systems. Like, you have the time trials, you have within the level the time medals.
Yeah.
You have the unlockables. Like, you try to make it as gamey as possible. I suppose in the beginning it was more of a simpler affair. So when did you decide that you might need to add all of that? Is that in the game development process? Was that the point where you said, like, we can do more with this, or was this planned right from the start?
No, we started actually with the concept of trying to make a game accessible to everyone. I always thought of Maymore like the platformer my brothers who doesn't play so the platformer they'll be able to play. And that's why the camera, for example, is not a free camera that you control. It's actually more like the camera moves in the level, but you don't have to think about it.
I see.
That's us trying to make the game accessible. But then when we showcased the game on events, we in the game lab of 2019, I think it was, we started talking with a speedrunner, and he played the game, and then we saw the game from the eyes of a speedrunner, and we thought, this is amazing. We have to make this part of the final game. In that moment, we had the dash mechanic that kind of adds a bit of depth to the movement system and allows you to go faster. But we didn't have the medals. And from watching him play, we decided to add all these elements of speed and the possibility of saying, well, if the game is too easy to do, then try to play it fast and get the gold medals. So yeah, it changed a little bit during the development process, and at the end is like a game that can be accessible for a player that hasn't played a lot of platformers, but also has a bit of depth for those more experienced.
That was a super cool idea. Like, whoever had that idea in your team and who was watching that guy play and was like, yeah, we need to put that in a game. That guy deserves his own time speedrun medal, because that
I think it was all of us. We saw it and we looked it to each other like, man, this is crazy. We have to put this no doubt.
I cannot. I mean, we're looking at some footage later on. I'm not sure if I do that, but I basically almost all the time try to do that dash dive, and then speed up move, because it just feels so damn good, and that it just makes the movement work well. It gives every level a lot of replayability. It was really a smart move, and I think that's the kind of idea that some of the smaller indie games are missing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love most of the smaller indie games that I'm experiencing. But they often miss that come together wholesome package that gets everyone to enjoy it, and that might just be missing in the beginning. So
yeah, I think it's hard to succeed in a moment where, I don't know, maybe in only a month there are like 10 3D platformers releasing, so you have to have something different, and we found that on the speed mechanic, and that movement you talk about dashing and jumping is we called it the dolphin move, as you are always like you do a small jump and dash and flow like that. And I think it's important for small games to kind of find that key element that maybe is the art, or it can be, I don't know, the way they do the music or the story. And in our case, we found it on this speed dash and this speed layer of the game.
Since you just mentioned some of the development challenges, what was the biggest surprise, or like the biggest challenge that you had while developing? Like, what got you really wondering?
So I think when we started, the most difficult part was actually learning how to develop a game. From university, we had learned a lot of theory and a lot of project management, but the theory part, no. And when we started working with undercoders, we had to kind of relearn everything. So that was a process, and it took a while to start like having a plan where one person makes a level but on blocking, and then the other one adds the art, and then the other one optimizes it. That was tough. And then the other part was making the port to Switch.
That was a challenge.
Yeah, okay. Because when you develop for PC, if you have a very powerful PC, that's bad, because that means your game can work horrible in the inside and the game will run anyway. But that doesn't happen on console. So we had to actually go back to some of the first bits of code and remake them to work on console. So I think those were the two big challenges when we started, to learn how to work on a game on this commercial cycle, and to actually port it to console.
How long did that development process go now? Like, how long did you take to make that game?
we started about 2.5 years ago, but that's not really as it goes because the first year we were in college. So working like full time, maybe about a year or a year and a half, more or less.
That's pretty impressive to turn out such a game after 1 year and a half of full development. Like, I also did some indie development for myself. I never actually released something, so huge thumbs up.
Oh,
To actually,
that's the most difficult part.
yeah,
Our David Jomandreu, the our teacher, always told us that the 90% of the time you spend making a game is actually only for the last 10% of that game, because it can be kind of easy to develop the core and the levels, but then you have to optimize them and to add different languages, and you have to all the process of adding it to the store and making trailers. So yeah,
and
that's
new platforms.
yeah. Yeah, so it takes time.
I was actually wanting to ask you about your future plans, but I suppose you seem to be a little bit still in love with Morty and still
Yeah.
trying to see what you can do with him in the future. But other than that, like, have you ever considered any thought past Mailmo? Like, what is something that you would actually like to do?
Well, we actually, as Mail Mode was a project from our third year in college. On our last year, we actually started developing another game at the same time. So we were working on the office on Mail Mode and on a prototype for like the last assignment of college, and that was actually a roguelike, a top-down roguelike where you play with a boomerang, so totally different concept. And I think we have a lot of ideas, and we are not close to like, or I do a 3D platformer, or I don't do anything. But yes, as you say, we have a lot of ideas for a possible sequel of Mailmo. In the dev team, we are always saying when someone has an idea that is too crazy to add in the game now, it's like that's for Mailmo too.
Okay.
So we'll see. It will depend also on this success or not of the first game, and the critics and the public. But yeah, we have a lot of ideas, and it could be Mail Mode 2, but it could be another thing.
I wish you all the best because the game was really adorable, and I see a lot of potential in your game because it's polished, it's fun, you tick all the right boxes how to structure the content in that type of game. I really hope that you have a lot of success with it.
Yeah, we too, and in any case, we are so happy to talk to you and to be able to talk to people that I don't know. It's after 2.5 years, talk to people that has played the final game and tell you that they enjoyed it. Kind of gives sense to all demands of headaches and of anxiety. So thanks. Okay.
So yeah, I took this one because this was almost driving me mad.
This is the first race of the game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go nuts with those races eventually when I have them unlocked all of them. But this one was driving me.
Yeah, this is actually the level that was kind of similar in the original version of the game, the one we talked before, and making these races also came from the speedrunning experience, because we thought that maybe not everyone would think about getting all the medals of the game, so we wanted to add it as a more like important feature of the game, so people can maybe play a race and then think, hey, going fast is fun. I'm gonna try to achieve all the medals now that I'm more skilled on the moveset.
That was such a smart idea. Like that got me hooked on that dive jump, and that yellow guy drove me insane.
That yellow guy is crazy. Yeah, yeah. I remember watching my brother playing it like a month ago, when we were like closing the development, and he was so mad at that yellow one because you do everything almost perfect, and then in the last second he appears and stole the race. Yeah.
I was cursing you so much because there were multiple instances in the level where you were exactly time framing like that. I would need to wait if I'm not pulling off a super crazy flying jump, and then the yellow guy would catch up to me all the time.
Yeah, you should see how the speedrunners play. Is another game.
Yeah, absolutely.
They play way better than us right now, and when we made a demo and we had like a speedrunning competition, and the videos are crazy. Like as I said, a different game totally. So now we are in the hub area, and from this the idea came from Mario Galaxy, the first one that has like this small city that I think that really helps with the pacing of the game, as in the case of mail mode, we use that hub to add the characters and the more story-driven parts of the game and the bosses, and also like secondary elements like the store of the game, the in-game store where you can buy costumes for multi, and it was to kind of give more I don't know, more heart to the game. Like if you're only going from one level to the next, it's difficult to feel that you are in a world. And with this with Peaceful Plaza, that's the name of the hub, we try to achieve this more like feeling that you are part of a small city in this way.
That worked really well. Because that really gets you into the exploration mood, and you know that there are more levels waiting. It was really cute touch.
Yeah, now we are in the Ancient Ruins world.
My favorite.
Yeah.
I want more. I want Ancient Ruins too.
Well, we'll see. Maybe we can do a DLC only with Ancient Ruins levels. Yeah, this one was interesting because. For each world, we tried to select 2 or 3 mechanics that could work together well, and I don't know, in the 4th world, the ice one, we combined the platforms that when you jump change, someone appears and the other one hides, that with bullets, because that makes the player take decisions very fast, and it's kind of funny. And for this one, we went with the roller theme. And it's interesting because we had a lot of references, because this kind of mechanic is on every platformer. So we had we wanted to make it a bit different. So in each level, we went for a different mood. So this first one is a more explorative one where you kind of learn how the mechanics work, and you see those brown rollers that you can control. But then for the next ones, we always try to find a new way to use the mechanic. So the game doesn't feel repetitive, or so the player doesn't feel that it's always doing the same. And that's why we added the roller, that it's not a roller that you can jump on, but that it's chasing you and you have to run away. So yeah, that was a bit of the idea with that world and with the whole game.
You really, I mean, you're probably aware of that because you said that platformers was one of your favorite genre, but Mario games do that really well, where every level is like its own collection of ideas that work together in a certain way. And I think you really emulated that well, that every level does something different, and it's really easy to just like want to push on because every level does something new, even with the same mechanic.
Yeah, I think Mario is like the definitive version of that because they have a huge team, and I'm sure that they have, I don't know, 500 more levels for each game, and they only throw in the best ones. In our case, we cannot do that because we are a small team, so we have to use each mechanic more. In Mario 3D World, for example, each mechanic is only shown in one level and then forgotten. But yeah, that was actually the idea. We took this concept of I don't know if you've seen the Mark Brown Game Maker's Toolkit channel video on Mario 3D World, but basically it explains the video that Nintendo has a way of designing levels that is based on, first I throw in the mechanic, then I develop it a little bit, then I change it to make it more surprising, and then there's the end. So, and I think that comes from I don't know, a Japanese way of writing or something like that. And that was a little bit the idea on Mail Mall. In this level, for example, that we have these bouncers and the rollers. We tried to add small things that really sell the mood for the world. So these balls, for example, the ones we are watching now, the small puzzle that, I don't know, maybe in Mail Mall there are very few puzzles, but I think that each one kinda tries to work to give a certain feeling. So in this case, we thought, well, if you are in the beach, you are in the sun, it makes sense, no? To have this small puzzle with the balls, and it helps to change a little bit of the pacing. And for the other mechanics, this world mainly has these rolling grounds and the bouncers. We tried to make its level different, as I said. This first one is a presentation, but then we have one where there are bouncers on all the level, and you have to move only bouncing, and you don't have you cannot like stay too much time in the same place, because then the bouncers continue moving and you can go that way. So yeah, we always try to make its level, as we talked about Mario, a bit different.
Was there any level idea that you actually threw out? Was there anything that you were like, this doesn't work?
Yeah, more that not really full ideas. In the beginning we developed a lot of mechanics that are not in the game, but not really because they didn't work, but because we had a limited amount of time, and we actually went for the ones that work the best. But in the process of making a level, we throw away a lot of mechanics. Like you try combining, in this case, the roller grounds and the bouncers, and you try something and it doesn't work, because in 2D, when you are I don't know, drawing it on paper, it sounds great, but then it doesn't feel good in 3D because the perspective is hard. So yeah, there's a process in the making of those levels, and there are things that are thrown away. But when we decided that we wanted to have 8 worlds, we already knew which mechanic would be in its world. So yeah, the throwaway part was more on the each level side than on the full mechanic one.
But that's interesting that you have individual mechanics that would work really well on their own, but if you combine them, that they would suddenly, especially in that 3D space, might lead to issues that you wouldn't really find fun anymore. That's not something I would have expected.
Yeah, because I think when you're imagining some ideas, you imagine them in a certain way, and then when you test them on 3D or when you test them with players, you see that the players don't really, I don't know, they are not playing in the way you intend, and that's not normal. You cannot blame them because you know your game better than anyone else, but the players are actually learning as they play. So yeah, in this case, for example, in this level, it was hard to pull together this concept of almost having a 2D level on a 3D game, because you have to deal with the different layers, because in a 2D game you are only moving in this two axes, but here you can actually miss the carrots if you move away a little bit, and I think in this case it doesn't work all that well. It's not like the best level of the game, but yeah, there were other ideas that directly you try them and you see that it's not gonna work, because it's harder than it seems to play a 3D game. I think we are very used to it, but when you go back to the original 3D platformers or the original PS1 games, you see that there has been a process, and that many ideas have been thrown away because they are hard to pull off on a controller. So yeah, that's a key part of the development process.
By the way, did anyone during the development process have a chuckle about making cosmetics for a character that is mostly underground in the game?
Yeah, that's the artist that makes them is always thinking like, wow, I'm spending way too much time on something that you cannot see. But I think I don't know. We thought actually about having the hats on top of the dirt that is moving, but didn't work at all. But I think that as Multi is like this cute small mole that if you see Multi next to another character, it's like 5 times smaller. No, it's like this very small character, and this cute aspect of him really inspired us to go with the costumes. And when we did the like demos or closed betas, everyone loved to buy these different costumes, even if they didn't see them all that often.
I was also noticing that, like, oh yeah, rocket jetpack and all the stuff, but I was wondering why I would even those small moments when he jumps out and you see them dive him again, even those are enough of a reward for the cosmetics to work.
Yeah, and we had to decide why should we have carrots. In Mail Mode, the carrots are a little bit like the coins in a Mario game, and I don't like the idea of the lives in Mario. I don't think many life systems are actually I don't know. I don't think they really made the game better. Like, I don't know, I was playing Mario 3D World the other day, and I was trying to achieve the 100%. And I was like, why I am thinking about lives when that doesn't really I don't know, make the game more interesting. So we didn't want to go that way, and the costumes were like this other way of giving sense to the fact of having a currency in the game.
Since we're now enclosing into the second boss fight, the others, the people who are going to watch the video are going to see that in a second. But I suppose the inspiration for the boss fight areas wasn't a platformer.
No, the boss fights actually came kind of late in the development when we were like starting to put together all the levels and the structure of the world. We saw that there was something missing, and that the story wasn't really clicking because there didn't were these tense moments during the game, and then we decided to add these boss fights. And this came, I think, from a NES game. I don't know the name now, but I think you play as a penguin, and the boss fights are something like this. Like you have to press 3 buttons to kill the boss, and that came from our publisher David Amandreu, that is a huge fan of those retro games. But yeah, we thought about boss fights as small challenges to kind of test everything we've seen in the previous levels. So here we can see the rolling grounds, and we're starting to see bullets that we'll also find in future worlds. So yeah, that was a little bit the idea.
I was actually thinking of those bullet hell shmups, like where you would have like a million bullets thrown at you, and then I needed to jump exactly in the right spot so the bullets wouldn't hit me. I'm not sure if that was... Oh yeah, that was the one where I missed. Look, the next beginning. Yeah. Was that intended?
What do you mean? Sorry.
Look, take a look what I'm doing.
Okay. I don't know what you mean now. Oh yeah, yeah, that was intended.
Because that was a cute touch.
Yeah. We always think of the dash mechanic as an almost advanced part of the game, because Mail Mall is a game that we, as we talked before, was supposed to be accessible to people that haven't played platformers, but the dash is like that small touch to the more skilled players. So we always in all the levels try to add ways to overcome maybe some parts that can be maybe too slow. So if you know how to perform the dash, you can actually skip those parts, and that's something that you can find in almost every level. It's not only here in the boss fight. When you see speedrunners play, they sometimes find ways that we haven't even think about. But other times, those gaps that you can actually jump are intended to kind of reward.
I actually think that playing the level backwards was harder than playing it the normal way, because the rotating platforms are going in the wrong direction for the mole to balance them carefully.
Yeah, that's true.
Actually made them harder.
Yeah, that's. But with the speedrunning, the idea was that maybe if you know how to go very fast, you skip some tricky parts, but going fast is also tricky. True. It's not like that's the easy way. That's the advanced way if you want to really dig in the mechanics.
So yeah, we're basically done with what we planned today. Thank you so much for the chance to do the interview. I'm really curious how this is going to work, and if people are interested in this type of content for like just talking to indie devs and see what their thought processes were, how they go about their processes. I hope you are going to have much success. I hope you're going to enjoy tomorrow and the day after with a lot of fun articles coming out. Thank you so much again.
Thank you for having me. I think it's interesting because I don't know. I've talked to I've done some interviews, but we don't usually dig this much in like specific levels, and I think it. I don't know if your community is gonna find it interesting too, but I certainly did. And yeah, thanks for having me. And whenever you want, we can continue talking not only about Mail Mole, but about any game that comes up.